Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning virtual service. My name is Reverend James Parker. It's just such a pleasure to be here with you today. Well, we've got a lot to cover, and I'm going to start with our daily word. And our daily word for today is energy. And it says, the energy of divine life renews me. How do I have the focus to achieve my goals? How do I have the strength to carry on through challenging times? How do I have the aptitude to learn, grow, and change when I'm called upon to do new things? At the heart of everything I am called to do is the energy to do it. I'm a divine being, and I call upon the power of God within me to channel my energy in deliberate ways. Divine energy is inexhaustible, unlike my muscles which can tire and my mind which can feel frazzled. The power of God within flows through me unimpeded. In prayer, I claim divine energy and imagine it flowing through me with the force of a mighty waterfall. I am grateful for my renewal. And the scripture comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 30 and 31. Even youths will faint and be weary, and the young will fall exhausted, but those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. Let's take a moment and go into the silence and allow ourselves to come into a renewal of spiritual strength. And so it is. Good morning and welcome to our virtual service. My name is Reverend James Parker. My lesson title today is Cultivating Self-Compassion. Friends, having compassion for oneself is no different than having compassion for others. Think about it. To have compassion for others, you should notice that they are suffering. Second, compassion involves feeling motivated by others' suffering so that your heart responds to their pain. The word compassion literally means to suffer with. Having compassion also means that you extend understanding and kindness to others when they fail or make mistakes, rather than judging them. Moreover, compassion for another means that you realize that suffering, failure, and imperfection is part of the shared human experience. Self-compassion, however, is the most important of the two. It means having a deep and meaningful spiritual relationship with yourself. It's a consciousness of the presence of God within oneself. It involves acting the same way toward yourself, even when you are having a difficult time, fail, or recognize something you don't like about yourself. Instead of just ignoring your pain, it means asking yourself, how can I comfort and care for myself in this moment? Having compassion for yourself means that you honor and accept your humanness, because things will not always go the way you want them to. You will encounter frustrations, losses. You will make mistakes, bump up against your own limitations, fall short of your ideas. This is the human condition, a reality shared by all of us. The more you open your heart to this truth instead of constantly fighting against it, the more you will be able to feel compassion for yourself and others in life. Compassion is essential to our spiritual growth. It is a way that we come forth in our greater development. Seppala said, "The secret to empowered action is learning not to beat yourself up." We have a biological need to be cared for and to care for others. But it is not always easy to love ourselves. The golden rule requires self-awareness. It asks that we use our own feelings as a guide to our behavior with others. If we treat ourselves harshly, this is the way we are likely to treat other people. So we need to acquire a healthier and more balanced awareness of our strengths as well as our weaknesses. Before we can make friends with others, we have to make a friend of our own self. We need to recognize that we all have a shadow side. If we are unable to accept our shadow, we are likely to take an unkind view of the shadow side of others. Suffering is a part of life, and it is essential to acknowledge our own pain, or we will find it impossible to have compassion for the suffering of others. When you are motivated by self-compassion, you see setbacks as the best learning opportunity. Criticism, for example, usually consists of a little bit of truth that pertains to us and a little bit of resentment or untruth that pertains to the critic's perception. Because of the hurt that goes along with criticism, we either become defensive or beat ourselves up and ultimately miss the practical lesson. With self-compassion, however, we view failure with greater calm and understand it as an opportunity for which we grow and can follow. Research indicates that cultivating self-compassion can contribute to beneficial physical, emotional, mental, and interpersonal changes, such as it modulates hormonal functioning, reduces the intensity and frequency of negative and chronic stress reactions, copes with difficult emotional experiences, moderates depression and anxiety, increases emotional well-being, mitigates negative thinking, improves interpersonal relationships, and enhances patience, generosity, gratitude, acceptance, humility, openness, and gentleness. Friends, self-compassion involves becoming aware of the presence of suffering in our bodies, emotions, thoughts, and actions. It means being warm and understanding toward ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, rather than ignoring our pain or punishing ourselves. In fact, it takes critical steps to bless us with inner healing. O'Donohue said, "Self-compassion is paramount. When you are compassionate with yourself, you trust in your soul, which you let guide your life. Your soul knows the geography of your destiny better than you do." In our humanness, we must address the stories and negative self-talk that plays over and over in our conscious and subconscious minds. This self-talk or personal commentary frames our reactions to life and its circumstances and shapes how we relate to God and others. We need to practice self-compassion designed to dispute this negative thinking. In J.K. Rowling's world-famous series, the central character, Harry Potter, comes to see that things were not quite the way he imagined. A teacher who seemed to despise him turned out to be a brave protector. Dumbledore, his strong, wise, and resourceful mentor, is debilitated by self-hatred. In their final meeting, Dumbledore expresses regret for not trusting Harry and tells him how he is racked with guilt and shame. He tells Harry, "You cannot despise me more than I despise myself." Harry knows what Dumbledore did in the distant past, but he gently challenges his mentor's negative self-assessment. As he respectfully pushes back against Dumbledore's harsh self-criticism, he contemplates how odd it was to sit here and defend Dumbledore from himself. Self-criticism is very personal for Dumbledore, but not exclusive, because it shapes how he views others. It keeps him from trusting and makes him unjustifiably cautious toward Harry. What Rowling perfectly captured in her portrayal of this meeting is that we are often more critical toward ourselves than a good friend would ever be to us, even if they knew the full story that has generated our unbearable guilt and shame. The act of self-compassion is really about learning to treat ourselves with the same kindness, caring, and compassion we would show to a good friend. Unfortunately, however, there's almost no one whom we treat as badly as ourselves. Therefore, self-compassion toward ourselves is not about boosting our self-esteem or convincing us that we are better than the average, but being empathetic and caring for ourselves as we would care for a friend. In the book of Psalms, chapter 43, it says, there's a writer whose world has been turned upside down. He used to lead the congregation in worship, but now feels discouraged. It is the object of deceitful attacks and is the physical agony. He acknowledges the reality of his situation, the reversal of fortunes, the spiritual despair, and the biting personal attacks. And he does not let these very real circumstances define him. In the midst of these rough seas, he knows that God is a presence that can be trusted. He asks himself, why, my soul, are you downcast? And then he tells himself, put your trust in God. He is resolute in reminding himself to take his eyes off the overwhelming circumstances and put his trust in something greater than himself. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 7 and 8, it says, blessed are those who trust in the Lord. They shall be like a tree planted by the water, sending out its roots by the stream. It shall not fear. Its leaves shall stay green, and it will not cease to bear fruit, the fruit of increase. Self-compassionate people are optimistic. They trust that failures, errors, and disappointments will be relieved and corrected. They recognize that being in lack, limitation, emotional pain, and difficult life experiences are inevitable. So they tend to be gentle with themselves when confronted with painful experiences, rather than getting angry when life falls short of set ideas. People cannot always be or get exactly what they want. When this truth is denied, fought, or resisted, suffering increases in the form of stress, frustration, and self-criticism. But when this truth is accepted with sympathy and kindness, emotional poise and self-confidence are experienced. Friends, consider this, if you will. First, self-compassion is not self-pity. When individuals feel self-pity, they become immersed in their own problems and forget that others have similar problems. They tend to emphasize feelings of separation from God and others. They often get carried away and wrapped up in their own emotional drama. Self-pitying people cannot seem to step back from their situation and accept a more harmonious, optimistic, or objective perspective. Self-compassion, on the other hand, allows one to see the shared experiences of self and others without feelings of isolation and separation. Self-compassionate people have a knack for putting things in their proper perspective. For example, it's easy to envision a self-compassionate person saying, yes, it is very difficult what I'm going through right now, but there are many other people who are experiencing much greater suffering. Perhaps this isn't worth getting upset about. Second, self-compassion is not self-indulgence. Many people say they are hesitant to be self-compassionate because they're afraid they would let themselves get away with anything. I'm stressed out today, so to be kind to myself, I'll just watch TV all day and eat a quart of ice cream. This is self-indulgence, not self-compassion. Being compassionate to oneself means that you want to be happy and whole in the long term. It does not mean taking drugs, overeating, drinking excessively, or being a couch potato. Lastly, self-compassion is not self-esteem. Although self-compassion may seem similar to self-esteem, they are different in many ways. Self-esteem refers to our sense of self-worth, perceived value, or how much we like ourselves. In modern Western culture, self-esteem is often based on how much we are different from others. how much we stand out or are special. It is not okay to be average. We have to feel above average to feel good about ourselves. This means that attempts to raise self-esteem may result in narcissistic, self-absorbed behavior, anger, or aggression toward others, or lead us to put others down in order to feel better about ourselves. In contrast to self-esteem, self-compassion is not based on self-appraisals. People feel compassion for themselves because all human beings deserve compassion and understanding, not because they possess some particular trait, pretty, smart, talented, and so on. This means that with self-compassion, you don't have to feel better than others to feel good about yourself. Why? Because self-compassion isn't dependent on external circumstances. It's always available. Buddha said, you can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Friends, we can change the impact our deeply rooted sensitivities have on us by changing the ways in which we view ourselves. Begin today. Cultivate self-compassion. Stop punishing yourself for your mistakes and errors. Trust that God will see you through your heartbreak and self-loathing. Accept that you are not perfect and be gentle with yourself when you are confronted with your shortcomings. You are valued by your friends, families, and coworkers because of who you are, not because you are flawless. Understand that you do not need to be a certain way to be worthy of love. You are worthy because you are a child of God. You are worthy because you get another day to try again. You are worthy because you've made a choice to love yourself first. There is no sense in punishing your future for the mistakes of your past. Forgive yourself, grow from it, and then let it go. Embrace your challenges, don't avoid them. Persist in finding meaning in everything life throws your way, and never give up on yourself. Find inspiration in your successes, no matter how small, and instead of feeling threatened, see the good in the successes of others. Instead of wishing for what you do not have, find strength and power in appreciating what you do have right now. By focusing on your blessings, you activate your power of expansion. Become a giant magnet for good. Find your inner voice of poise and move the focus away from your shortcomings and into a greater expression of love, riches, and well-being in all its beauty. You are like a tree planted by the water, sending out its roots by the stream. Your leaves shall stay green, and you will not cease to bear the fruit of increase. Start now. Practice self-compassion. Love yourself, and I promise you, you will feel inspired. Your gifts and talents will be recognized in all circles, and your cup will surely overflow. Are you willing to do this with me today? Well, thank you all, and God bless you. Well, we've come to that time in our service where we open our hearts to give. And this is a great opportunity for you to come forth in the perfect way, allowing yourself to receive your goodness. Now, there are three ways that you can give. You can go to our website and hit the contribute button, or text us at 773-492-8772. Or always mail us a check to 2650 West Montrose, Suite 110, Chicago, Illinois, 60618. Now I ask that you take that gift of yours, the one that you're sending out to us today, and send energy from your heart into that gift as we say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, richly flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful for the blessings of this day. I am grateful for the blessings on the way. And so it is. Friends, if you prayed that prayer with us, you're moving energy, you are moving substance. Now allow yourself to become open. Open your mind, open your heart, get ready to receive. Now let's take a moment and pray it into existence. Heavenly Mother, Father, everything God, thank you for these gifts that we received today. We know that they come from those who love you and who are open and receptive to doing your will. God, take these gifts and send them out into the world to do good works, and then return them to the giver 100-fold, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Fill their bank accounts, fill their wallets. Remove any burden, any doubt, any debt. Allow them to come forth in the perfect way and uplift their families and homes. Now, God, lead us, guide us, direct us. Order our steps. More of you, God, less of me. More of you, God, less of me. More of you, God, less of me. And we see it happening now in the name and the very nature of Jesus the Christ. And so it is. Amen. Well, friends, thank you for being here with us this week. If you're new, welcome. Welcome to our home. Welcome to our community. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. Please come back. Now, if you're going through something, if you're having a struggle, if you're dealing with something in your life, go to our website. Look at some of our sermons, some of our meditations. Find something that will inspire you. And of course, if you like what you see today, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, ring the bell. We love sending out our messages into the world, and we'd be happy if you share them. Now, I ask that you stick around to the end of our service today. We've got some great announcements for you. You'll find some great opportunities and possibilities there. Look it up. And now I ask that you become still as we say our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Well, friends, it's good to see you this week. Please return next week. We've got some great stuff in store for you. Until then, I love you. See you soon.